Right, folks, welcome back to another episode of the Cheltenham Running. We're delighted to be joined by Cheltenham winning jockey Andrew Lynch. Andrew, it's great to have you on.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be honest.
Andrew, we'll get into it. And obviously, you have won the champion chase with sides in Europe. Can you just walk us through maybe what that feeling was like to get Cheltenham winner in such a big race?
Obviously the year before that I had won the Arkle on size in Europe as well, and I think it was the cross country size in Australia. But leading up to the champion chase that year, I don't think he had won a race in that season. But he had a good run in the Tide Cottage leading up to it. He finished second, I think, but he had an issue with his wind, but they were able to rectify that, and we're fairly confident going there. And like just the champion chase, it's all about speed and how quick you jump. I know it was an amazing feeling.
Yeah. And then this year, I suppose, is there any horse that's impressed you outside maybe the top three, like Energumene, Envoy and Monkfish? Outside of them three, what would you say has impressed you the most that's going to Cheltenham?
As in any of the races, like,
yeah, just anything in
or
total, like.
You'd have to be impressed with the Willie's bumper horse Kilcruit. He was very impressive. He beat a very good horse of Gavin Cromwell's, who had run against Sir Gerard, and they both of them beat him impressively. But just the way Kilcruit done it in Leopardstown, you'd be very impressed with it.
Yeah, and what have you made of the likes of Monkfish? What have you made of the likes of Monkfish and Energumene and Envoy Allen this season? Do you think they're, I suppose, bankers, if you will?
Well, obviously, Envoy Allen, like he's unbeaten. He's a great attitude, jump super. Only does what he has to do. So you actually don't know how good he is. Monkfish just a real out and out stayer, like, and to be able to win over 2-5, you'd have to be impressed with him. Like, boy, I think when he steps up and trip again, he'll be even more impressive. The other lad, I think the other lad's probably with Shiskin in the race. I think it's going to be a very, very competitive race, and it's hard to know which one of them will win. So, like, of those three novices, I think he'd be the bogey one, I think.
Yep. Dean, I'll throw you over.
Yeah, Andrew, just life out of the saddle now. How are you finding it? I know you've set up a break-in and pre-training yard there, and you've got some nice shorts heading to the sales for the breeds up.
Yeah, no, like I was lucky enough. I've been doing this for the last probably 4 or 5 years, just with small numbers, just with always looking to the future, just in case, obviously something like happened. At least I had something to carry on once I was finished riding. I didn't think it would be that early, but at least I was prepared for it anyway. And realistically, like, the doctors were always giving me every bit of time to give me a chance to get back with the shoulder, but I actually never was good enough for them. So, like, I probably knew a year ago that they weren't going to let me back. But at least I've built up a nice bit now. But obviously the big days, you do miss going racing for the big days. And I always loved riding horses and jumping horses. So it'll always be, I'll be always fond of it, following it. Like,
Yeah, and I noticed that you've sold Steel Bull as a as a breeder. How much of a kick did that give you? Given that he went on and won at Goodwood, the Group 3.
yeah, it was incredible. I'll never forget myself, Riona and Aaron, my child. The three of us were screaming the house down watching it. Probably got a bigger kick out of that than nearly any of the races I've won. No, it was a very, very, very good day. That was, especially it was only a month after we sold him. And the previous week he won his maiden in Naas. And just like from the day we bought him in at Dascot sale, broke him and brought him along, and like we kind of knew he was fairly good, and thankfully he done what we thought he could do, but now it was an incredible day that day watching him.
Yeah, and like I listened to the interview or the stable tour there with David Bowen from Racing's Inside Track. You've got a good strong squad this year for all the different breeds up sales, haven't you? You've got a couple of nice colts and fillies there.
Yeah, we've a good selection of horses now. We're actually just last couple of days just finalising things. But we've a nice profitable filly going to the Craven along with a Cotta Glory colt, and those two are very nice, very sharp forward going. Then we've a good bunch going to Doncaster the following week. We've an Ardagh colt, another Clodagh colt. Steel Bull was by him, so we were anxious enough to get another one if we found the right horse, and I think we have. So he goes there as well, with Caravaggio filly, a Zoffany filly, a Camacho colt, and Ulysses colt as well. So like 6 nice horses going to Doncaster. I think we've 3 then for the Guineas, an El Kabir colt, a Showcasing colt, and another Camacho colt. They're stepping up each week now from now on, and they're doing everything nicely. We have a couple of well-bred horses going to the Arcana sales in France. A Caravaggio filly, she's related to a Group 1 winner, and then a Kingman colt, who's fairly well-bred as well. So, and then the last sale we've Kodiak filly. She's nice. She's big enough for a Kodiak, and she seems to sharp, but great attitude as well. Which normally those Kodiaks are a bit hot, but she seems to be sensible. And I think we've a Buratino colt as well. So we've a good bunch of horses this year.
Yeah, myself and Ryan were involved with Nick Bradley Racing. We got a nice share and a filly with him, and Nick always targets fillies. Is there a particular preference, Andrew, you have going to the sales that you like, you think will fetch more fillies?
No, I kind of try if I can get a well-bred filly. Probably it'd have to have a bit of black type in it. Like I wouldn't mind getting a filly because they tend to hold their value. And like the fillies now, like they seem to be making money as well if you get the right filly. But yeah, like if you can get a filly with black type, like you tend to not to lose too much money with them. Like
yeah. And Andrew, just last but not least for me, the Punchestown Festival. It's a festival I attend every year, and I know you've won the Punchestown Gold Cup in that before. In Ireland now we see the Dublin Racing Festival and that, but as the Punchestown Festival the real pinnacle of the big festivals in Ireland?
Definitely. Like it's probably like the Cheltenham of Ireland is like the even there 2 years ago. Like it's probably, I think it was 2 years ago when Willie Mullins came from. I think he was nearly behind to come and beat Gordon Elliott in the championship. Like there's that much money involved at that festival. Like it's serious money. And they tend to, depending on when the year is spaced out, with Cheltenham and that Aintree and that, you'll Sprinter Sacra done Cheltenham, Aintree and Punchestown. Like so, like you can do it and you can get the best of horses for Punchestown. And it's their last run of the year normally. So like people do tend to just run them if they're right. Like.
Yeah, and we tend to see some of the English trainers targeting Punchestown as well, because like the Dublin and that is the Dublin Racing Festival is too close. Punchestown prize money is phenomenal, and it's great to see them, coming over and trying to take us on in our own backyard, so to speak.
Yeah, no, like I said, like it's a very like the prize money is very good there, and the ground is normally good, and like it's a good festival as well. Like plenty of good competitive races from the top end to even to cross country races there. No, it's definitely a good week now.
Yeah, Alan.
Yeah, Andrew, just looking at your own career, your first winner was in 2002 about Tristerna in Downpatrick. What sort of a buzz was it to finally get the first winner on the board?
Yeah, she was my first. That was my first winner on the racetrack. But my first winner was in a point for Jim Draper, horse called Saxa de Roche in Castletowngagan. But to get my first winner in Downpatrick as well. I know it was very good, especially for Al O'Connell as well. Like I was lucky enough. The people that support me from the very start support me till the very end, and even still now they're still supporting me. So no, I'm very lucky now that people do. They support me from a very young age. I think I was only gone 17 when I won on him. And I think it was 2 or 3 weeks later I came out. I did double up there as well. So no, like it was. Downpatrick's a lucky track. Like not too many people like it. Like, but I always had good luck there.
Yeah, and you're associated with some good horses, like as we said, says in Europe, says in Australia. One of my personal favourites was the mare Valor La Vedette. She was successful in the Lismullen in 2011, the Hatton's Grace, and the Christmas Hurdle in the same year. What sort of a feeling did you get from her? And was it good to be associated with a mare of that caliber?
She was a very good filly. Mrs. Brophy, thankfully, I was able to get she let me ride her, and she gave me plenty of encouragement and ride her in whatever way I thought was best. The first day I rode her, I was second or third to Hurricane Fly, I think was in the Hatton's Grace, and I thought if I knew her, I thought I might have gave him a run for his money over that trip. But lucky enough, we made amends the following year, and he won. She could be keen in her races, but once she got her settled, she'd relax, and her jumping would always get you into the race. And yeah, no, we had some very good days with her. And I'd say she'd after breeding a couple of winners there as well. So hopefully she'd turn out to be a very good broodmare.
Yeah, and just one final one from me. Was there a jockey at all that you idolised maybe growing up?
Probably I was lucky enough. Like grew up watching Paul Carby and Davy Russell, Ruby. Like they were very good riders. They were. And if you're able to take a little bit advice off any of them, like it was always good advice. Yeah, no, like they were very good riders.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You mentioned there likes of Ruby Walsh and Davy Russell and all them. you've obviously shared the dressing room with all of them. Would you say there was a lot of big personalities in there?
Like they all seem to get on fairly well. And like we grew up together. No, but like, I think everyone seemed to get on well enough in here, I think.
Yeah. And was there much of a, I suppose, competitiveness between UK and Irish jockeys around Cheltenham time or at Cheltenham? Would there be a big competition between UK and Irish jockeys?
Say that again, Ryan. Sorry, I missed it.
Was there much competitiveness between UK and Irish jockeys coming around Cheltenham time? Would there be like a lot of competition between the two groups?
I wouldn't say there would have been a whole lot of competition now, but like everyone's going out there to do their best, and certainly over there, like it's a big ordeal, and it's a big occasion. Like, so you're going to be as competitive over there, especially. So like you weren't going to be giving anyone a bit of space. I know it was very competitive over there. It is.
Yeah. And then just before we let you go, Andrew, what would you say is your banker of the festival this year?
Like there's a good few of them there, but I'd say Shack or Porsbar, and Vialan and Monkfish. I think those three should take all the beating, and they're probably short prices though. But I think those three should win.
Yep, that's everything, lads. Have you covered everything yourselves?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's perfect. Andrew, thanks very, very much for coming on. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, thanks,
no problem at all. And thanks very much.
Best luck at the breeze ups.
All right, thank you. Sure, you might buy one off me.
Hopefully.
Yeah.